So far on the channel, I've shown you the GMC Terrain. I've also shown you the GMC Yukon Denali, and there's just one missing, and it's this one, the 2023 GMC Acadia. This week we have the SLT trim of the Acadia, which is nice because usually we do get a lot of the Denali, so it's nice to check out a little bit of a lower trim this time. But this trim does have an included elevation package, which gives us 20-inch machined aluminum wheels, blacked out GMC center caps with black GMC lettering, 20 all-season black wall tires. You also get a blacked out grille, gloss black roof rails, and black exterior accent. As you can tell, there is a whole lot of black for this elevation package. Under the hood for this year's GMC Acadia, we got a 3.6 liter V6 engine that does 310 horsepower, 271 pound-feet of torque. It also comes with a 9-speed automatic transmission with an electronically controlled transmission with overdrive and gear range select. And if you're interested, the towing capacity is around 4,000 pounds. Now, let's take a look at the rest of the vehicle. Moving on now to the front of the GMC Acadia. As you can see, it is a very nice front end with the normal C-shaped headlights that we're used to seeing from GM. They're just a little bit more narrow. We have that blacked out GMC badge, no chrome here at all. Like I said in the beginning, it is the elevation package, which gives us a whole bunch of black accents. Nice little fog lights down there, a little bit of air intake as well. And you have a front-facing camera, which is very nice. Daytime running LEDs that'll go right along the C-shaped strip right there. The refresh happened about 4 years ago, and the only thing is they haven't changed it since. But I guess if the vehicle's still selling well, there's no point in refreshing it just yet. But when they do, it'll be fantastic because GM, as we saw with the Canyon just this week, they've done a great job at their refreshes. So with that being said, let's continue. Okay, onto the back now of the GMC Acadia. We have, again, nice blacked out GMC logo, the blacked out Acadia logo, and the all-wheel drive, because of course this is an all-wheel drive vehicle. And now we have the nice C-shaped again on the rear. It really looks like the Terrain, the Yukon. We've seen it before, but we do like it. There's a rear wiper down here. I wish they just extended this wing a little bit further and hid that up there. And then you have this little cutout here, which looks like it should be for a rear view camera, for a digital rear view mirror, but it isn't there on this trim. You also have more blacked out accents, like I said in the beginning. Then we have some nice chrome dual exhaust tips there. They look very nice. Not a huge amount of sound to come out of them though, but no worries. Also, we have a nice rear view facing camera. And then if I pop the trunk right here, of course, it is automatic, even in the SLT trim, which is excellent to see. And then you're presented with what looks like a little bit of trunk space, but it's actually a lot. And we also have these nice GMC logoed mats. This is an add-on, you do have to pay extra for that, but I'm glad I got to see them. But you could pull this thing down right here. It's a pull and a little push, and it goes all the way down. And also the mats are kind of, you can tell they're meant for this car because they kind of fold up and down with the seat, which is very cool. So same thing here, pull this down, and then that third row is completely folded down. And I'm not even gonna attempt to sit in that third row because I'll just tell you right now, there's no room. But there's excellent news. You can fit just about anything in this car. With that third row down, you have an incredible amount of trunk space. Fold those captain chairs down and you have even more. I would struggle to find what you couldn't fit in here. So there you go. All right, moving on to the side now of the GMC Acadia. We have these nice blacked out roof rails, really nice blacked out rims. I do like the way that the color and the rims match. And then we have the Acadia badging, some nice huge rear side view mirrors there. And then we have 4 unlockable one-touch doors, which I like. GMC has been doing that for a while, and I hope they continue because it's very nice. With that being said though, let's hop in. One touch unlock those doors. It's a very, very plain and basic interior. There's really not much to say about it. It's black with a little bit of like grayish, we'll say, there. But let me hop in and show you the room we have in here. So I'm 5'11". I'm sitting right behind my driver profile, and I have a whole bunch of space back here. I also have a 12-volt adapter. I have some climate controls, heated seats for both these captain chairs here. No ventilated, but not a big deal. We also have some USB-C, normal USB, and I have this little drawer-like thing with a little bit of storage and 2 cup holders, which is nice. 2 sunroofs for the driver and passenger, and like I said, third row is folded down for now, and also I don't fit in there. So small people only. There isn't a whole lot of room. It's not like the Yukon where you can kind of move around the whole time. The back of the Acadia is more for room, maybe less people. Okay, here we go. We're inside the GMC Acadia, and we're met with pretty much the same steering wheel that you would have seen, you know, whether you got a car in 2019 or 2023. It's the same thing, but it is what it is, and it's effective. I don't mind it. There's a lot of like rubber touch controls here, which is nice because it is meant for the off-road, which means you can get it dirty and then clean it very easily. So that's very important. And the feel is good. You got some volume controls and media controls right behind instead of paddle shifters. I like that too. We also have a heads-up display with some little controls here on my left-hand side. We got memory seats, power adjustable seats for the driver and the passenger, which is great. Then I have a little trunk button here, just a little bit lower with, you know, I can adjust how high the tailgate will open. So I can have it 3/4 or completely off, or I can have it open to the max, which is nice. Moving over to the infotainment display, it is on the small side. I said the same thing about the terrain. It was on the small side too, but the good news is that GMC software makes up for so much. It's so smooth, it's so simple, it just runs and it works. I got rear climate control in here, I got controls for my 360-degree camera, I have apps you can have. We also have a built-in Amazon Alexa and built-in Spotify. We also have Apple CarPlay wireless, Android Auto wireless as well, and wired if you want. The option is there, and it's just so good. I've got built-in navigation too if I ever want it. I just really am a big fan of GMC's infotainment software. So keep doing that. Then a little bit lower, we do have some manual controls for the HVAC system I like. It's dual zone automatic climate control. Of course, it's also automatic for the rear, which is nice. And then we have some wireless charging pad and some nice little finger holes for the gear select and a big button for park. You saw it on the terrain and you also saw it on the Yukon. So if you're familiar with those two, you're familiar with this. It also comes with USB-C and USB-A. And then we have some nice 2 cup holders and our transfer case gear selector here that I could do 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, race and off-road, which is nice. And then I have heated and ventilated seats for both the driver and the passenger. A little bit of storage here and nice sunroof as well. Overall, very comfortable, very nice, but I'm gonna tell you everything about comfort, seat-wise, and everything else there is to know about the vehicle once you take it on the road, so let's do that. All right, here we are, 2023 GMC Acadia on the road, and it has been a pretty comfortable week, all things considered. I have not been in traffic too much, but the seats are comfortable. They don't have as much bolstering as, say, something like the Yukon did, but they're very similar to the terrain. I think the whole opinion, you know, the basic opinion of this car is that it drives like a massive terrain, which isn't a bad thing because I really did like the terrain. I mentioned before too, it has 4 drive modes. You got your 4-wheel and you also have your sport and your off-road. Let me put it into sport. There's a little green racing flag on the dash to show me that I am in fact in sport mode. So let's test that out. Let's rip the GMC Acadia all the way down. Lots of pedal travel. Oh, but then it picks up. Ooh. Yes, sir. Come on. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's good. I have done it before this week. Couldn't help myself. Had to try out the V6. Wow, it is very torquey. You know, it's one of those things that it has a lot of lag to it, where I put the pedal down and it's like, you know, it's as if it's waiting for you to be like, yep, your foot's still on the floor, okay, and then it's gone. But once it goes, it's a fun ride. You know, I'm kind of looking at the sky, so you can tell that it's really pushing the front end up, but very nice. I felt controlled the whole time. The steering does stiffen up a little bit. Obviously the brakes do too, but very fun. No problem getting around slow traffic if you want, and you can have a great time in it, which is nice. It doesn't have that like crazy tuned sporty suspension that we find in the Volkswagen, but for what it is, if you want to go fast on the off-road track, I mean, I think you could handle it with this car. Now, I just spent probably about $40 of gas doing that rip, so let me tell you about fuel economy. So, I mean, it's not going to be great. My average is around the 14 liters per 100 kilometer mark because I do a lot of city driving now, not much highway. It does improve when I am on the highway. So the long stretch of highway that I did, I was getting a 7.7. So that's a huge difference. It's a huge gap. So my best fuel economy this week was 7.7. My absolute worst was high 14s. But I expect that. This is a big car. There's a lot of weight to move around in here. So you're gonna get that from a big 3-row. but it could be worse. I have had worse, so there you go. I haven't been in any winter conditions, so I can't really talk to you about how the four-wheel drive behaves in the Acadia, but I can tell you how it behaves with the terrain, and since they're very similar, I'm not worried about this car. I think this car would do the same or even better than the terrain in the winter conditions, because that four-wheel drive system that GM has always been very good. GM hasn't disappointed me with all three of these cars, which is nice. I've driven all three of them at this point. I've spent a week with all three of them, and I'm happy to say that no matter which one you go with, you're going to be very happy because the infotainment's relatively the same. I believe the Yukon does have that Google built into there, so you know the Yukon you're getting a little bit different, but the Acadia and the terrain are very, very similar, but it's just GM at its best. You know, maybe the interior could use a refresh. It does look a little bit dated, but it is what it is, and I'll take it because according to Niall, who is our resident GM expert now, he says that these Acadias have a lot of interest in them. And, you know, I can kind of corroborate that because I've had actually a few people come up to me, and I've had, you know, crazy cars. I've had the Escalade. Nobody came up to me. People just gave me weird looks in the Escalade. But in the Acadia, I've had a few people mostly GMC owners as well. I've had a few people in GMC trucks, GMC Sierras come up to me and ask me how I like the terrain. And they've all told me that they're very interested in the terrain and that they can't find it because, you know, as soon as it gets to their dealer, it sells, which is good news. You know, if you're in a terrain, you kind of like driving a car that you know everybody wants. You know, it's got eyes on it, and it's nice. I've never really had people come up to me for the different cars that I've driven too much yet, but the Acadia has been a big one, a very, very big one. So people like it, people want it, people are willing to trade in their trucks for it, which, you know, I don't know. I'm not a truck guy, so I wouldn't know, but I mean, truck people, you can let me know in the comments, would you trade your GMC truck for a GMC Acadia after what you've seen here? I'm curious. I'm really interested to know. The steering feel in the Acadia is good. It's got a lot of body roll, so you're gonna, you know, that's the only place where I guess the terrain and the Acadia really differ, is the fact that this is gonna have a lot more body roll. It's a lot more nimble. It is a big car. It does drive a little bit like a truck, so you know the steering is a little bit heavy at times, and there's a whole heck of body roll, but it's still comfortable, and you're not really doing this like crazy sporty stuff. I don't get to take these cars off road, but I can tell you though that the suspension does handle the massive Quebec crater that are also called potholes very well. I don't feel them. It doesn't rattle my spine. I don't feel like I need to go see a chiropractor after driving, which is important because the roads just keep getting worse over here in Quebec. So let's do final thoughts for the GMC Acadia. Overall, been a great week, been a great time driving this car. I really don't have any massive complaints besides the fact that I wish the infotainment was bigger. I wish the interior had maybe a little bit of a refresh, especially after like 3-4 years. I think it's due, and I think GM, if they plan to keep the Acadia in the lineup, they are going to refresh it, and when they do, everybody's going to want one, just like they want one already and they didn't even refresh it. So that's already very good news. Fuel economy is not great. You're not really going to save that much money at the pump, so if that's what you're looking for, don't think this is going to be the vehicle for you. But if you have a lot of space needs and the terrain is nice but too small, then the Acadia is right there. And I think the Yukon costs like, you know, a small condo, so there's very limited people that can buy that, but if you're in for it, there you go. So it's nice that I've been able now to show you all three of these GMC vehicles that are in that class, and you know, it's just been great to be able to drive all three of them, and I have a great opinion on all of them. And like I said in the beginning, no matter which one you choose, you're going to be happy. If you like the Acadia, you're going to be very happy. Lots of space, lots of leg room, really can't go wrong. Very nice little cruiser. You are going to pay a little bit in the fuel, but besides that, it's very good. You got a nice little Bose system in here as well, so overall, you'll be very happy with your purchase. And with that being said, I think I'll go ahead and round out the video here. If you've made it this far into the video, you have to subscribe. There's no choice. Can't watch a 15-minute video and not subscribe. You also have to like. It does more for us than I can explain in one video. And let me know in the comments, did I forget anything? Are you in the market? Do you want to switch out of your car into a GMC Acadia, or do you like the terrain? What do you like? And also, you can find me at Technically Cars on literally any platform. I do POV drives, but if you don't like that thing, I'll always be here on PRN until Niall tells me he's had enough of me, and that's it. So we're gonna go ahead and leave it right there. If you liked, make sure you liked, and we'll see you in the next week. We'll see you in the next review. Take care.